What is up, realmers? In pups, furries, fays, dragonkins, cryptids, mythical creatures, beings of consciousness, concepts of reality, and gamers alike. How it be, what it do, and welcome back. So yeah, we got more of this. This bard we're gonna have to level up here. Try to get some yums with this. Dude, the coral bow. You can't go wrong with the coral bow. Maybe I'm just like being all nostalgic and such, but you know, you just can't go wrong with it, really. What's going on over here? What are we doing over here? Apparently I'm getting destroyed. Alright, I gotta keep this, maybe I could shoot my shot at a... Oh, 75%! Dang. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. One sec here. All right. Cool. So I went ahead and copied. I got the message already. There we go, because yeah, I want that increased chance at an enchanted coral bow. At least one, bare mins. That'd be really, really dope. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's hit that one. Let's go ahead and hit that one. Dang, I was late to the party. Alright, let's see here. Alright, you next. I'm just heading straight there. I would have ran Haunted Cemetery, but there's really no need. Squid and Big Dude and Rooting Tundra. Oh, dude, look! Dang, AJGJKS. Damn, they got sat on. Damn, rip. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I know who Swirl is. Yeah, they're part of that one guild where pretty much everyone in there uses hack clients. This one right here? One sec. Yeah, right there. RotMG. Yeah, most of those people use hack clients. If not all of them. And they just sit in fame trains all day. Just about everyone in there that's White Star has earned their white star off of fame training. Ooh. Dang. Look at my pet dealing 80 damage. Damn. Look at that, didn't even try. I wasn't even trying. Okay, yeah, I can leave it. But yeah, RotMG. Or Mellow the Mad God, whatever the guild name is. It's actually the guild I was running fame trains with. I wasn't like in their guild, but I was running fame trains with their guild. Because they were the ones organizing them and stuff. Yeah, the more you know. The nest. Very tempting. I mean, I do need my dexterity. Alright, cool. Yeah, let's run a nest. I need my dexterity bad. Yeah, actually, their guild leader, I remember she was talking about how, like, she wanted to, like, she emailed Deca about changing up Mystic and how they use stasis and stuff. And it was like the most, like, I don't know, it's like they already have issues as it is, and you think they're gonna implement something like that into the game. It's like, it's more than not, most likely what's gonna end up happening is they're just gonna take away the whole, like, stasis as a whole, and they're just gonna make the enemy, like, slowed or paralyzed, if anything. Because, like, their idea was to make stasis, instead of the enemy, like, not being able to be hit, turn the enemy into a statue with a separate health bar, and then it adds that damage onto the original health bar. And I'm like, do you know how much work you're asking of them? But they're putting up a front like, oh, Deca said yes, and they said they're very interested, and they responded to me and said that it was a great idea. And I'm like, really? And so I was like, hey, could you show me that, you know, them saying that? Because if so, then hey, man, then prove me wrong, right? And you know, but I was like, yeah, I would like to see. And so then I added her on Discord, and she just sent me the text. Like, there's no image, nothing like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. By the way, so pretty much what happened was there's this little bit of I guess you could say realm drama going on, because you know, there's some people in that guild. Damn, again, dude. AJGJKS again, dude. Damn. Oh yeah, that's rough. But no, pretty much there's some people in there, and you know, their guild leader was like, I should have been in bed like 6 hours ago, but I need someone else to lead the fame train, and no one was saying anything. And I was like, there's no bigger flex a gamer can have than taking care of their personal health over games. And one of their friends was like, shut your punk ass up. And, you know, obviously I'm Verge-in-games. I'm not going to let someone, you know, just talk to me like that. And so I was like, excuse, are you talking to me? And they're like, yeah, punk. And I'm like, the only punk here are, you know, this roamer's friends. You guys are apparently all such a tightly knit group of people. You know, yet here you are wanting to benefit yourself over the health of your friend, like in a fucking game. Which, it was just sad. Yeah, it's just really sad because it's like, and then it's funny because that same person who runs Melot MG, that guild, that same person was just sitting there letting it all happen. And then once that all ran its course, they're like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now. And I'm like, cool, you know, do what I just told you to do. If you should have been in bed 6 hours ago, you're still on the game. Someone advocates, you know, like, hey, you should take care of your physical health first. And this was before I knew that they were a female or anything. So don't pull that whole jazz on me, okay? Because that's not it whatsoever. I'm not a simp. There's only one cryptid on this planet Earth that I am or ever will be a simp for. Okay? I have a soul contract, a soul bond. So, simping is reserved for one. I just treat everyone like that. And so, you know, it's like, you know, when I went through all that, little did they know that the people who, because then they started ganging up on me too. People in that guild started ganging up on me. Like, they'd be all like, and they're all white stars, right? They'd be all, oh, dude, calm down. And I'm like, I'm just talking to this dude, this loser, the same way they were talking to me. And it's funny because literally like 10 minutes before all that went down, the conversation got brought up about putting someone on ignore, right? Because this person was just like all like, oh, they were just like pushing politics shit, and all these people were like, dude, that's kind of annoying. Like, if you can, just like stop talking. And you know, but it was like that level of politics where they're like, all of you are brainless and spineless, and you don't care what I'm saying, therefore you're all dumb, you're all stupid. Like, it's at the expense of other people. I think that's when, you know, I will be a part of a group and I'll start being like, hey, like, you should probably shut your mouth because you're not going about it in a productive way. All you're really, ooh, get off of that. All you're really doing is just making people pissed off at you if you're trying to push a point. Then maybe you should try to meet people at on a middle ground, you know? But yeah, no, it just and so yeah, the topic of ignoring got brought up, and you know, I brought up the fact that, you know, I ignore a lot of people and I'm ignored by a lot of people. And someone asked me, like, why is that? Why do a lot of people have you ignored? And I was like, because I treat people the way they approach me. And if you approach me with disrespect, then I'm going to be disrespectful back. I don't play that whole, I must be better than them. No, treat others as you wish to be treated. If you come up to me treating me like a dick, then okay, that's probably how you interact with people. That's how I'm going to interact with you. And so, you know, that topic was talked about, and we're all talking about that. No new people entered the party. No one left. And, you know, that person was still there. Everyone was still there during all that. And, you know, it just turned into this thing where this person, during that conversation, because another person was like, yeah, but I'm wondering, like, has anyone just put you on ignore just like because? And this White Star was like, well, I mean, they're a YouTuber, which is kind of like a backhanded comment, because it's like, that's like saying like, oh, they have a fucked up ear, that's why people feel awkward talking to them, or yeah, they probably smell bad, you know, something like that, right? Like it's a backhanded comment or suggestion, and so it's like, oh, okay, it's just because I'm a YouTuber, you think it's like I'm less than or something like that. And you know, some could argue, oh, that's how you took it, but that's how it was delivered. I'm just not providing all the context here. And so it, you know, pretty much like that same person was the one telling me to, oh, last arrow, damn, rip. But yeah, that same person was the one telling me to shut my punk ass up. And so I was like, all right, I was way too fucking nice to you. And little did they know, I actually, because when I'm around a bunch of really toxic people, and I say toxic people because the way they were conducting conversations with others, and they were also being like for example, there was someone who was Dark Blue Star, and people were asking around like, oh, what's your guys' favorite items? And it's like, you know, people are going through, someone said Ogmer, another person said the Dirk of Cronus, you know, they're saying like biome whites because they're asking about biome whites, they're asking about whites in general, all that stuff. And the Dark Blue Star said something, and they were just like, Dark Blue Star, opinion rejected, and typical Dark Blue Star activity. And it's like, okay. And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm around some people who are going to do that towards me. Ironically, it ended up happening. But so what I started doing was I turned on my opacity and I started recording. And because, you know, it's like there's unwarranted jabs being thrown out at people just for speaking. And eventually I'm going to be at the butt end of that, so I'm going to just get it on recording, because apparently that's the only way you can make reports in to Deca in Realm of the Mad God. That's the only way you can make reports. And so it's like, I don't know, it pretty much what ended up happening was they were using this this bot command thing. It's like /follow, like it'll follow another realmer almost like to a T, like to the very pixel that they're on and stuff like that. And I got hell of them doing that, hell of them, and they're all in that guild, Melot MG or Mellow TMG, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, they were all in that guild that I got, and it was just like, they have this Discord server too that goes on, and there's like 280 some odd people in there, or like 300 people. There's a lot of people in there. And yeah, no, I remember I had to join it because that's the only way I could add the guild leader. Because I was like, what's your Discord? And they were like, oh, just join my Discord server and just add me. I'm this username. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you can just add me, but okay, I get it. You're in your 30s. You know, it is what it is. And yeah, that's when she sent me the just plain text. Like, it wasn't like a screenshot, nothing like that, not even like a covered up thing. So yeah. Oh, look, there they are again. Oh my gosh, there they are. All right, hopefully they don't die. They're saying ready. But yeah, in that message too, because I added them momentarily. Like, I'm not gonna keep people on my Discord who I'm not gonna like be friends with or talk to regularly. And the same thing for like really negative people or manipulative people, like or rude people. Like, there's this one guy I added, and he was like, "What religion do you follow?" And I was like, "Well, I just, you know, I explored a lot of them. You know, I explored Mormonism, Catholicism, Christianity, Buddhism, Satanism. I even looked into Judaism at one point, but yeah, I'm not Jewish. Okay, let me just say that right now. I am not Jewish. But something that I kind of came to the conclusion of is that, like, I don't know, like, I was pretty much telling this individual, like, my viewpoint on religion, my viewpoint turned to one after exploring so many different ones. And it's that the way I see life is it's about planting seeds of that could grow into positive potential. For example, like, if someone's rude to me in public, right? If you didn't hit me, you didn't put a gun to my head, you didn't threaten me with a scorpion tank, then, you know, I'm not tripping, you know. If they keep pursuing, then it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm gonna respond back, but I'm not gonna be like, yeah, you should KYS and stuff like that. But rather just like, hey, like, I understand you're probably having a rough day, or, you know, life's kind of beating you up right now, but I believe you can get through it. You know, because most people are gonna be like, yeah, fuck you too, blah blah blah. Like, I hope you get the worst luck ever in your life. I hope you get fired from your job. Like, I'm not destructive like that. And this dude that I added was like pretty much being like, oh, so you're a nihilist. You're a typical nihilist. And I'm like, no, because I don't see life as pointless. I don't think it's just like all for nothing. You know, like, I understand that my actions will snowball into things. You know, positive energy rolls positive chain reactions. Negative energy will have negative chain reactions. So, god damn it, stupid fucking, sir, I told you, dude, it's always a 50-50 with this stupid hemomancer. But anyways, yeah, they were just like, oh, so you're agnostic. And I was like, well, if you want to call me that, then sure, I'm agnostic, I guess. And he was like, I will piss on any agnostic from the highest story of a building. And I'm like, okay. And they're claiming to be religious and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're a spitting example of whatever religion you encompass by saying things like that. Good job. But anyways, it was weird, because then I was like, hey, like, I gotta go record for my series. I got to finish maxing out my pet. I got this message actually right before I did my final Anyone Can White Star update. I believe it's number 12. And you know, they're like, oh, I get it. I'm taking up too much of your time. And it's like, weren't you the one saying that you would piss on my head from like the highest part of a really tall building? Weren't you the one saying that like I don't know, it's crazy. Like he was saying some kind of wild shit, and that's the thing, is like I don't keep people like that around. Like I don't play that whole like manipulation stuff. Like the moment someone does that, I'm like, this is how you carry your communications with people, your relationships with people. I don't want any part of that. I'm not here to fix you either. Like I will be like, hey, like that's kind of weird. Probably shouldn't do that. Or I'll call it out in a direct or indirect way. And if it's indirect, I do it in an indirect way that will be direct enough. It's like right on the cuspice where it would be like, for example, there was this one guy who, it was like the weirdest fucking thing, man. Like this guy was like, here, let me see how much, 26 minutes, okay. This guy was like arguing, and it was a realmer, by the way. There's this other guy that was arguing with me, trying to say that I doxed Callum's. That's the ex-wife person that I, in 2 different videos, exposed. The mugshot, the charges, and everything to back up what I was saying about them. And this person was like, oh my god, you just doxed them. You doxed them. There's nothing cool about doxing someone, bro. And I was like, first of all, I didn't dox them, because the only thing you see is their mugshot and their charges. Because I'm saying some things that are awfully discriminatory. You know, I'm making sure that people know it's not libel that I'm doing, you know, and that it's actual based off of fact, for a basis of my reasoning. And they were like, nah, you know what, you're not cool, dude, you're not cool. Why are you gloating about it? And I'm like, I'm not gloating about it. Because the Callum's person changed their name to Callie in Realm. They changed their name because a lot of other Realmers were being like the same thing, and they'd find out other stuff. Apparently there was grooming going on in their server webcord. And but yeah, no, pretty much like this person was like upfront an asshole. And I'm not saying that because they were disagreeing with me. I'm saying that because of the things they were saying in between the disagreeing statements. You know, because there's declaration sentences that were disagreeing, and then there's other ones that were like, you're dumb and stupid, and you need to basically like tie a rope, if you know what that means. And you know, they ended up you know, slash telling me, you know, like this right here at the bottom left, like the private Realm Mad God DM type of thing. And you know, I was just talking to them, and then pretty soon it seemed like we were all buddy, because then they started being like, I'm a programmer, and you know, they were an engineer, and they were like, I'm an engineer, and you know, it's just like I'm just depressed and all this stuff. And I'm like, why are you depressed? And this is after they were an asshole to me, by the way. And mind you, I wasn't retorting with the chocolate starfish, if you know what I'm saying, type of demeanor at all. And you know, just simply defending my statements, and you know, and retorting what they were saying. but there was no personal attacks or anything. But they were doing that to me. But anyway, so this part, pretty much what ends up happening is they're like, oh, you know, I'm an engineer. I'm depressed. I just can't make friends. You know, I'm always by myself and all this stuff. And I was like, well, look, man, I don't mind being your friend. I really don't. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, cool, cool. And we even added each other as friends. But obviously, they're not there anymore. But we even added each other as friends. And, you know, the next day, and I sat there for like, I want to say like 2 hours. No, actually, hold on, that's a lie. I sat there for an hour and 20 minutes, nearly an hour and a half, listening to this roamer just go on and on and on about all their troubles. And I would, you know, give reassurance. I would be like, you know, maybe this is something you can do, you know, like giving them suggestions, you know, asking them like, how's your diet looking? Are you drinking enough water? Do you smoke cigarettes? All this stuff. And, you know, for an hour and 20 minutes, almost an hour and a half. And then, you know, we log off because I had to literally rip myself out of that conversation like freaking duct tape, right? And just so I can go and take a shit and then go and, you know, wash the dishes, freaking take a shower, all this other stuff. And, you know, which I'm not saying there's a problem with that. It's just, you know, this is, it provides context to what I'm about to say. And so pretty much what ends up happening is the next day, I log on, I'm in the realm, I'm running through Runic Tundra, and I'm killing all of these yokai. I'm trying to get more fame for my wizard so I can, you know, reach the goal of my pet being 100, 100, 100. And I get a slash tell. He's like, hey. I'm like, hey, what's up, my dude? How's it going, man? I was like, I hope you're feeling better, man. Oh no, I'm like, how's it going, man? And he was like, I'm depressed. And he says this again. And I was like, oh, what's depressing you? And he's like, social media. And I was like, social media? I was like, what about social media? Like, is it the concept that most people use it for attention, or social media like people usually want like equivalent exchange out of it, you know, question mark. And they were like, for you to think that out of the billions of people on Earth, most of them just want attention is such a stupid mindset. And your question bored me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the hell is this guy's fucking problem? And so I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This person clearly has mental health issues. So let's approach it in a way to where I'm not being this person's babysitter, you know, coddling them as they sip their apple juice wearing their bib. But at the same time, I'm not going to be insensitive. And so, you know, I was like, oh, well, the first part of the question was what aspect of it? And they're like, yeah, but that's the thing, is the other two parts of the question were dumb. And I was like, okay, I hope you feel better soon, man. And I just left it at that. And then, like, I want to say maybe 2 hours later, I get a slash tell from the same realmer. And they're like, I'm depressed. And I'm like, now at this point, you can't help but to think, if you're aware of these tactics, if you've ever been put through these things before in your life, you can't help but to think, okay, this person's entering the conversation either calling for help or manipulating a conversation to happen. But either or, they want something out of this, because this is like 2 hours later and I get a response, and they reach out again, and I'm just like, I was like, yeah, we all feel like that sometimes. And they were like, why? Well, and then he goes, what are we even doing? Question mark. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was so, like, how do I even put it? It was like this, like, so generalized statement where it was like 400 or 600 employees have been fired and we're supporting them. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, we pay our taxes, we do all this stuff, our government sucks. And I was like, well, yeah, a lot of people are upset about the government and all the stuff with this one certain lobby that's prevalent that starts with an A and ends with a C. And this stuff's going on. And he was like, you have such a disgusting thought process. And I was like, look, man, I'm not here to be your verbal punching bag. If you're feeling upset, you don't take it out on your friends. And he goes, who said we were friends? And I was like, I don't know, maybe me, and then you acknowledging that yes, we were, and then you spilling your guts out for, and I said, an hour and a half yesterday. And he was like, no, we're not even the same. We're not even on the same level. No one thinks like me. No one wants to be my friend because no one can relate to me on my level and stuff like that. And I was just like, look, man, and that's where I was just like, fuck you, dude. Don't, hell no. And then, yeah, I did go off on him, I was like, fuck you. And I was like, you say I'm a piece of trash, right? And you're trying to say, oh, you're doing YouTube for attention and stuff like that. And I'm like, watch my series. This ain't for attention. This is to make people see that judging based off of star is stupid. It's dumb, and this guy just, he goes off. He's like, no, you're a YouTuber. By default, you're doing it by attention. And I was like, for an engineer, you're pretty dumb yourself. And I was like, honestly, at this point, you can just fuck off. I was like, I'm the piece of trash. Right. I'm the piece of trash. The one who's right, okay. And I pointed out some other things to him, and then, at that point he was just feeling a certain way. But I don't keep friends like that around. I don't keep people like that around. And I think that was an eye-opener, because I don't, people think that just because I have YT in my name, oh, you're a YouTuber, you gotta be nice to me. It's like, hell no. I don't gotta be nice to you. I don't gotta be nice to you. I'm someone who does not give a fuck what people have to say about me. People can be like, oh, you can get canceled. You can get canceled. You're just giving me PR, dude, because guess what I'm doing at the end of the day? I'm waking up, I'm recording more, I'm uploading it. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. And that's the thing, is that, like, when I get put in situations like that, people forget, hey, content creators are human too. We are not your punching bags. We are not here to deal with the bullshit that you're going through and putting onto us. You know, I don't care about that. And so, you know, it's like, it's interesting the type of people you meet in this game. And yeah, so it looks like this server is just fucked. It's this is gonna be a pretty long-ish series because these servers, every time it hits 90%, that's when the Hemomancer spawns, and it's always a 50-50. The realm will either crash, taking out the entire server, possibly the entire game. I mean, if you're in the realm, like let's say all these 67 other realmers that are in here that got disconnected, they won't be able to reconnect for like another 30 minutes. Well, 20 minutes probably at this point. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, just take what I said and live vicariously through me, I suppose. Don't let, the moment you have a hint of disrespect, don't put up with it. You know, it's because people will take an inch and stretch it into a fucking astronomical unit. So yeah, with that being said and done, thank you all so much for supporting this series and listening to these crazy stories I have about the realm and some realmers. If it's been a while, go drink some water. If it's been a few weeks, you may want to eat some food. If it's been a few months, you may want to take a shower. And if it's been a few years, you might want to brush your teeth. Getting some fresh outside plant oxygen air is awesome for your lungs. I highly recommend it. And if you're a fish, then swimming to a fresher part of the waters of whichever you swim in, whether it be a lake, river, ocean, a pond even, you know, I'm sure swimming to cleaner waters is better for your gills. So I recommend that. And more and most importantly, take care of yourselves in a healthy and responsible way. So that way, I mean, that doesn't hurt yourself or others, okay? So that way you can game yet another day. Alrighty, I will see you all in the next part, during the next part, at the time of which is the next part, once we get to the next part. So with that all being said and done, if you want to be my friend, there are 2 categories that you must fill. 1, you must be an adult. And 2, you must be a positive affluence to your environment. I think that's the best way to put it. Because I was going to say you can't be rude, but, you know, I think it's better to say, 1, be an adult. 2, be a positive affluence to your environment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So with that being said and done, see you all in the next part when we get there. Peace out. Yo. Diggity yo. I don't know how to end it, so I'm just gonna